Donald Trump has quietly appointed Erika Kirk to the key advisory board of U.S. Air Force Academy. She'll join the panel of 16 that oversees morale, discipline, curriculum, and fiscal affairs.
Now, I know what you guys are thinking. Stella, this is insane. But I actually think I understand the logic behind this decision. In the military, somebody's ability to rise in the ranks quickly is a good thing. And Erika's rise from sugar baby to Nepo baby has been very impressive. What a resume. But I digress. What does this position actually do? The Board of Visitors are in charge of making U.S. Air Force Academy recommendations to the Secretary of War and the President. I can only imagine what that board meeting is going to sound like. So, on today's agenda, we will discuss nuclear deterrence. And then Erika Kirk will show us how to use a tragedy to boost merch sales. She's so good at it. I wonder who else the Trump administration thinks is qualified for a position like this. I'm guessing someone who has watched Top Gun at least 10 times. And that would still make them more qualified than Erika Kirk. What's crazy is that the Republicans were supposedly the party of merit. Charlie Kirk famously said, if I see a black pilot, I'm gonna think, boy, I hope they're qualified. I don't even want to tell you what I'm thinking, seeing a white Christian nationalist widow of a dead podcaster. But I do know what Iran is probably thinking. Yes, keep it up. I am sure the Air Force will appreciate Erika Kirk's recommendations of what waterproof mascara to use. Well, at least J.D. Vance will. Now, it's worth noting that Charlie Kirk held this position before he died. And he wasn't exactly qualified either. That man thought a dolphin fetus was human and used his entire career asking the question, what is a woman? No wonder we are where we are today. Of course, Erika will just claim that she's continuing her husband's legacy. Right? I'm doing this for Charlie. I'm doing this all for Charlie and his life's work. I wonder if she'd have the same energy if he was a janitor or a plumber. I don't think so. As for the 4-star generals out there who probably wanted this position and have things like 30 years of experience under their belt, I know this might be difficult to hear, but have you ever considered putting beauty queen on your resume? I mean, you could try. USA! 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 Anyways, bye!
Erika Kirk has been appointed to the Air Force Academy board. Yeah. I'm here for it. I love it. That's what you need to know on this Tuesday morning. So you get back to work, Goyam. You'll be lucky if you ever pay off those student loans, pay down that mortgage. Erika Kirk, on the other hand, well, she's just being handed promotions. In case you missed it, her husband died. So now she will be advising the Department of Defense. I don't know. With this appointment, Erika joins just 15 other members. That's how exclusive this board is. There's just 15 other members, and they are responsible, just so you understand what the job requires. They're responsible for making recommendations to the Defense Secretary, Pete Hegseth, regarding changes to the Air Force Academy. They're also tasked with providing an annual report regarding the Military Institute's morale, its finances, its financial state, and its academics. Now, you might be wondering right now, how on earth is Erika Kirk, how did she really just graduate from an apparent stay-at-home mother to suddenly being qualified to submit financial, academic, and military morale reports to the Defense Secretary of the United States? And if you're wondering that, you should know that you're everybody. We are all wondering this, but I don't know, guys. Her husband died. That's what I'm told. We are just constantly being reminded that her husband died. Therefore, hey, she could be president one day. That's what Charlie said, allegedly. Well, there's no, so we can't see where he said it, but he did say it. He just happened to say that she's going to be president one day. And some would say that maybe it's starting to look like a Claire Underwood from House of Cards situation. Maybe we don't feel so great about her ambition in this moment. But those people, you should dispel what they're saying. They would be wrong because the experts have explained things very clearly. And the experts say Erika is qualified because Charlie was qualified. She's literally just taking his place. Anything he can do, she can do better. Yeah, sure. Charlie was a literal boy genius, boy wonder, who had been militarily inclined since high school. Remember, his plan initially was to get into West Point, but then he established Turning Point and it drove his life into a different direction. And sure, Charlie then built and ran that successful college campus student organization with chapters all across the nation. And sure, that organization earned him the ear of the president of the United States and every major political player in the country and world. And sure, that organization was taking $100 million in annually. But what? Like, it's hard. Erika's husband died, so now she's qualified to take his place. That's how this works now. And that's what she's doing. Charlie, by the way, had himself earned that appointment. And there was backlash going, wait, whoa, this is a very big deal. We shouldn't be mixing politics with this. He had earned that appointment in March of 2025. So just 6 months before he was assassinated. We can all therefore reasonably assume that his beauty pageant wife, who makes t-shirts with biblical verses on them, is going to bring the same level of experience to this exclusive role because she's grieving. And the math on this is really simple. It makes perfect sense if you don't think about it at all. And you want to know what I think? I think that why stop there? Why stop there? We're so far past ridiculous. I want them to actually just accelerate things. Why not just make Erika the defense secretary altogether? Why not just give her command and control over the Army, the Air Force, Marines, the Space Force? I do not see a legitimate reason why Erika wasn't sitting to the left of Trump in the Situation Room when they bombed Iran. That seems perfectly logical now. I mean, her husband was assassinated and she's a grieving widow. So, yeah, maybe she could provide counsel to the president regarding this crucial Operation Epstein Fury. That's what we're calling it. We know what this is really about. They're distracting us from the Epstein files and just doing whatever Israel wants, like always.
Erika Kirk has just been appointed to a top leadership role in the United States Air Force. I can't believe that this is real, but it literally is. Erika Kirk is now part of a 16-member panel that overlooks major aspects of the United States Air Force. This includes things about morale, discipline, curriculum, instruction, physical equipment, and fiscal affairs, and other matters at the military training facility. Other people are former U.S. senators and deputy national security advisors, so people that should be holding this role. But now a former bikini model and background music video actor is a part of this. Now, Charlie Kirk, was supposed to be a part of this board of visitors, which doesn't make sense. So because of what happened to him, Donald Trump said, I'll just give it to Erika. She's now became one of the youngest and most unqualified people to hold this role in the history of the American Air Force. She will be overlooking things like morale, discipline, and training, so hopefully Erika knows a thing or two about U.S. Air Force. Comment your thoughts on this and follow me for the news update.
Shabbat Shalom, Air Force Academy. As you know, I have taken over for Charlie, your hero and my beloved husband. It's hard to say late husband because he was always so punctual. One of the values that you learn here at the Academy, it's discipline. Charlie believed God is in the air. And he told me, I want to be with the Air Force. If you're ever called to serve, I need you to stop and serve. And don't let anybody tell you otherwise. If this country calls you to serve, you serve. And that's what you'll do as a patriot of the United States of America. And your life can change in the blink of an eye. Don't I know it? September 10th. Get an opportunity for some reason, the 25th Amendment. You're called to become vice president. Get looked at in the eye. The only person who uses the same eyeliner as you. And they ask you to serve, you serve. I'm asking you to serve. Then you can go and fight for your country and make sure that Iran doesn't mess with Israel or the United States ever again. Do it for Charlie, our hero. I do have merch available also.
We are Charlie Kirk!
Charlie himself said that he was done with the pro-Israel cause. But then he was murdered. And his wife did a complete 180 like LBJ, inviting, frankly, deranged Zionists into the fold immediately. Ben Shapiro, who was in fact an enemy to her husband, effectively opened AmFest. She came out first, and then Ben Shapiro came out second. He was also allowed onto Charlie Kirk's show and appeared in person rather in his studio. Very odd. I want you to park that into your mind. She never came out and said anything about Josh Hammer lying when he said that Charlie never blinked on Israel. She never said anything at all about what Charlie was going through. Never said, oh, that donor took money away from him. I'm so angry about that. Not once. Actually, you could argue she did the opposite. She was setting up interviews with the likes of Barry Weiss, pushing Charlie's final book, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. Okay, we got it.
So the people telling soldiers how the military should be run didn't even serve. Stay with me for a second. So Erika Kirk just got appointed to the Air Force Academy of Visitors. And here's the kicker. She's replacing her husband, Charlie Kirk. Yeah, that Charlie Kirk. Now, this group helps to make recommendations to the defense secretary about how the academy should be run, basically shaping the culture and direction for our next batch of military leaders. But look at the roster. Tommy Tuberville, Ted Budd, John Hickenlooper, and Erika Kirk. None of them served in the military. So let me get this straight. So the people risking their lives are being told what to do by people who never served, never wore the uniform, never deployed, never had to follow those orders themselves. And we're supposed to believe this is about merit and leadership? Looks like DEI to me. Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like elites telling working class people how to do their jobs. And I'm curious, do you think that military leadership should include people that didn't serve at all? Or does that seem a little backwards to you too?
You think the public doesn't notice with this ridiculous appointment on putting her on some Air Force related board she is in no way qualified, which, you know what, that's nothing new for the rest of who he appointed. I mean, we're just living in a cartoon at this point.
Recently, Erika Kirk was appointed to the Board of Visitors for the United States Air Force Academy. Now, for those who may not understand what that actually means, the Board of Visitors is an oversight body. It exists to review the Academy's policies, academic programs, morale, discipline, and overall operations, and it provides recommendations directly to the Secretary of Defense and the President. So this is another win for the Conservative Party. This was a position formerly held by Charlie Kirk. So in other words, this is not some ceremonial ribbon-cutting position. It is a legitimate advisory role designed to ensure that one of America's premier military institutions remains accountable and aligned with the mission of training future officers. So the question is, how does somebody get there? Members of the Board of Visitors are appointed by Trump himself, the President of the United States, the Vice President, the Speaker of the House, and congressional leadership. It's a bipartisan structure that has existed for decades, and it includes civilians from a wide variety of professional backgrounds. So when you see people online acting as if this appointment is something mysterious or some kind of conspiracy or unprecedented event, it's not. And I know Candace is going to roll with it, so I'm beating her to the punch. This is a standard government appointment process that has been in place for generations. Facts matter, my friends. Process matters, and understanding how your institutions actually work matters. Because in the era of viral outrage and social media mythology, there's only one thing you can do, guys, and that's tell the truth. And that's what we do here. So let's sit back and await the next video from Candace that is going to somehow tie this to the death of Charlie Kirk. Take care, my friends. Congratulations, Erika Kirk. Like I said, another win for the Conservative Party. God bless you all.
I'm just telling you right now, if Erika Kirk is ever on a ticket, I am not voting for Erika Kirk. I will vote for anybody else. I will vote for somebody foreign before I vote for Erika Kirk.
Can anybody give me just one singular, solitary reason why Erika Kirk should be appointed to the Air Force Academy Board of Visitors? What? What? Board is responsible for overseeing the morale, the discipline, and the curriculum for America's future pilots and commanders. So please explain to me what expert insight, what knowledge, what literally anything does she bring to the table? When it comes to this, I mean, you guys, be so for real. We spent years complaining about DEI hires, but now you guys don't want to talk about it because it's your girl? Really? Really? We're just going to be quiet. We're just going to be the hypocrites that we've spent years yelling about, right? I asked on social media if anybody had an explanation for this whatsoever. The only thing that people were able to come up with was because Charlie was on the board. Okay? And Charlie earned that through his life's work if he was appointed to it. And I assume he fell into like the morale area of it, but he was given that due to his life's work. Please explain to me why Erika uniquely qualifies for this and should be appointed to it simply because Charlie is not with us anymore. And for context, I say this as a huge Charlie Kirk fan. I spoke at his visual, okay? And I've been intentionally quiet on all of the very, very bizarre things that have been happening surrounding that in the wake of such, because again, like I said earlier, I feel bad. But this is absolute insanity. And it's everything we spent years complaining about. And I can tell who in my party is very unprincipled, because anybody right now who spent any amount of time talking about how unethical DEI hiring is and how we're only going to appoint people and hire people based on qualifications, I voted for it. I voted for it. But tell me how this lines up. You can't. I'm actually adding this in editing before I post this, because I just went back to that social media question that I posted and I got one more response, the only other different response, and somebody said because she's ethical. I have a hard time wrapping my mind around that, because she was on the summer house. She was caught texting a 15-year-old girl. She is on video in her pageant days saying SE work should be completely legal. Okay? So you guys have to pick a lane. Either that's okay and you're riding with your girl and she's ethical, or it's not, but be consistent either way.
All I gotta say is, yo, Candace Owens, where you at? Did she just level up? Did she just one up on you? Listen, what does Erika Kirk know, first of all, about the Air Force? Second of all, listen, I'm offended. My dad served on the Air Force during Vietnam. Crazy wild stories. Like, I can't salute him. He in another place, in a better place, but Donald, you're not eating on this one. What the? I have no words. This is the stage is set. There's going to be a whole movie. I don't know what to say at this moment.
I watched Candace last night, of course, and I'm exhausted. I'm totally exhausted learning about the maneuvering that goes on behind the scenes. Like, I live such a simple life. I can't imagine being in the dog-eat-dog world of politics and celebrities and money. The shifting, strategizing, what you have to do, exploiting every job you've done, every charity you're in, the showing up, being on every second, picking who is going to help benefit you and who you leave behind. It's got to be the most exhausting life. It's exhausting hearing about it. I don't understand who would choose to be in that arena and what you gain from it once you're there. Because everybody you stepped on to get there, they're clawing their way up to pull you down. I think that's what's happening now.
All right, y'all, let's recap Thursday's episode because there was a lot to unpack there. So Erika was trending after comments she made about why she stepped into leadership after Charlie's death, and the backlash came from multiple directions. So here's what happened. At a recent event, Erika explained that before she ever met Charlie, she had already built a business that basically ran itself. According to her, she intentionally structured it that way so that when she got married and had children, she could step away and focus on her family. And now she says she's only stepping into this public role because she's honoring what God put in front of her and honoring her husband. But this episode pushes back hard on that story. Candace argues that the business Erika's referring to is actually just a small clothing brand that didn't really appear to be operating the way she describes until very much later. The timeline just doesn't match the idea that this was some massive self-sustaining company before she got married. And that's where the criticism really starts, because Erika also referred to herself as the sole provider for her children now. And that statement really set some people off. The argument being made is that this paints a picture of someone struggling to support her family on her own, when in reality, Charlie reportedly had major financial protections in place. Things like life insurance, trust, and they even raised millions of dollars publicly after Charlie's death to support Erika and the kids. So critics are saying that framing herself as the sole provider is misleading at best. Then the episode moves into leaked audio from a Turning Point USA corporate call. And in that call, leadership talks about expansion, including opening a new office in Las Vegas. Erika also thanks employees for interacting with her kids when she brings them into the office. Now, that moment was meant to sound heartfelt, but Candace argues that it raises a much bigger question about how often the kids are around the office and how leadership is actually functioning behind the scenes. From there, the episode zooms out and starts digging back into Erika's past. There are questions about her education claims, including whether the degree path listed on her LinkedIn even existed at the time she attended Arizona State. There are also questions about her claim that she lived in China doing anti-trafficking work. The timeline suggests she may have actually just been there because she was dating a professional basketball player who was playing overseas. But don't forget, Justin Strife told Candace that Erika never actually lived in China and only visited for a week or two to visit the sites. And that leads into the bigger theme of the entire episode. Candace believes Erika's current public image does not match the documented timeline of her earlier life. Before meeting Charlie, she was actively pursuing fame, auditioning for reality shows, trying to build fashion projects, moving in circles where publicity and entertainment were clearly the goal. So the episode frames this as a major contradiction, because on one hand, Erika now presents herself as someone reluctantly stepping into power in the spotlight just out of duty and faith. But on the other hand, her timeline suggests someone who has been pursuing public influence and visibility long before that. The episode even goes further, tying some of these connections into broader political networks involving Arizona, Romania, and people connected to Turning Point USA. Now, whether you agree with all of that or not, the core argument of this episode is pretty simple. The story Erika is telling now just does not line up with the timeline that exists publicly. And once people start looking at that timeline, the questions just keep piling up. And that's why this episode is getting so much attention right now. But y'all let me know what you think in the comments and make sure you're following to stay up to date. I will try to get out Monday's recap before the baby comes.
Thank you for watching Great Minds Blacks.